Action. I am your host. With me for the first time, because this is the first show, is Brittany.
Hi, I'm Brittany.
Do you want to say your
Sure.
full name?
It's Brittany Alexis, and I'm here with Deric, and I'm very excited to be here. This will be fun.
Now, who are we? We are two comedians based out of Pittsburgh. Were you born in Northern Virginia?
I was born in D.C., technically, and then I lived in Maryland and then moved to Italy, so it's kind of weird. But then I was back to Virginia.
So this is about blaxploitation, which is a great genre of movies, really old in the 70s. It was used as a kind of like an outlet for just Black Americans. Like they used to, when you saw like a Black American on a movie scene or anything, it would be negative portrayals. And this is like the first revolution of it being, positive. Brittany, have you seen any of these movies?
I had not until the one we watched today. I hadn't seen a lot of movies, so I wasn't a big movie person until I was in my 20s, and even then I only really watched horror movies. So that's not the norm.
Really? Yeah, that's very odd. I haven't really seen many. Besides Black Dynamite, Django.
Oh, I did see Django.
Yeah, that's.
I thought you meant just ones from the 70s and 80s. No, I watched.
No, I think we're gonna do all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is I don't know how many episodes we're gonna have. Either 8 or 12. We're gonna take a break and then maybe go to a different genre. Maybe we can do Black horror movies. That'd be cool. Yeah. So here's what we did. We watched a movie today, and the movie is Cleopatra Jones. And here is a trailer.
She's 6'2" of black beauty. She handles her car like a gun. She handles her gun like a man. And she handles a man like Cleopatra. Cleopatra Jones. She's hunting for the head of the most vicious crime syndicate ever conceived. Shelley Winters, Ms. Big.
I'll take care of Cleopatra Jones.
And Cleopatra Jones is going to put her on a permanent diet. Tamara Dotson is Cleopatra Jones. She drives a custom vet, wears clothes by St. Angelo, and is a connoisseur of freedom and fine men. Cleopatra Jones, with Bernie Casey, and music by Joe Simon and Billy Jackson. From Warner Brothers, rated PG.
Well, that movie's PG.
That's the most surprising part.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I didn't know the movie was PG.
Read it, just put it out.
You know what? Maybe they didn't have PG-13.
I know they didn't care about kids at all at the time. Beetlejuice was rated PG. It has the F word in it and a brothel, so.
Yeah, that's very true. And there were tons of kids in this movie for some odd reason. Their parts are just man, that Cleopatra sure is cool. Just so weird lines. So Cleopatra is the 6'2" Black woman. She's the answer to James Bond, 007. And I think this movie came out right after Shaft, which is the most famous blaxploitation movie that we probably have you seen it?
I haven't seen Shaft. I'm pretty sure there was a TV show on it. I think there was Shaft the TV show for a while after the movies, or maybe there was just the movies. I could be incorrect. I think I've seen the show.
I don't know. They made 2 movies,
and there's no show. I was watching.
Probably. But yeah, she was 6'2", which I guess is tall for a female. It's really weird seeing her fight people who are really shorter than her. And also, she had the slowest karate
it was
ever.
Slow-mo. They had just discovered slow-mo. This movie came out, and I loved it. They were get up in there.
There's one scene where she does a kick to the back, and it's in slow motion, and the sound the guy makes, so it's just It's just weird. But yeah, how'd you feel about this movie?
I actually really liked it. I didn't know what to expect just because I didn't really know a lot about blaxploitation movies. I also think that I had them confused with other genres of movies that came out during that time. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good representation, especially black women. The thing that surprised me about how I felt the most is Cleopatra Jones obviously is a very gorgeous woman. And they make and allude to that often in the movie. And I think sometimes when it's done in the way that it was done in that movie, it can become just like kind of like not harassing, but just weird and like awkward. But I kind of like that they did it in that movie because you're talking about like the 70s.
Yeah.
Black women are like constantly under attack. I mean, still today, people say stuff about them. So I really actually liked that they made such a point to show that everyone of all races found Cleopatra Jones to be exceptionally attractive.
And not only attractive, but really good at her job.
Yeah, and it didn't diminish it. So I love that. I think that's why I didn't mind it, because her attractiveness like never got in the way of her abilities.
No, not at all.
No one ever held that against her, and they didn't treat her like she was just a pretty face. They like respected. They actually had respect for her, especially her boyfriend. Like, oh my goodness, I love that.
Yeah. And you know what? The police chief,
Yeah,
at the end of the movie, or like towards the end, she was like, she discovers like a plot or whatever. She's gonna go fight the main bad guy, right?
yeah.
And the chief is like, I don't know if you should do it, and she was like, I'm gonna do it. And then then he was like, Cleo, and then she goes, Chief, and then Chief goes, okay, it's fine. Yeah, and then like, yeah, that's ridiculous. I like that. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
What about Tiffany?
Well, we're looking for her.
I think I know where I can find her.
Well, let's go.
I'll handle it, Lou.
Cleo?
Lou?
All right. But be careful.
All right.
He easily had a crush on her, and he was just so helpless to do anything about the crush he had on her. It was kind of so cute. Cleopatra Jones is a 1973 blaxploitation action comedy film directed by Jack Starrett and starring Tamara Dobson, Bernie Casey, Shelley Winters, and Antonio Fargas.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about the movie.
Yeah.
So Cleo, it opens on this. I don't know, where is she? Like Turkey?
Yeah,
Some place in the Middle East.
she's in.
And yeah, and she's walking through a bunch of like dignitaries and presidents of some foreign country, and she's getting checked out. And then she sees like a poppy field, and that's what they used to make heroin out of. And then she blows it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I felt like they had like a budget to work with, which is great. What did you think?
No, I like that too. They definitely had a budget to work with. It kind of reminds me of, like, we might get to this later, but like the other thing I liked about this movie was how they talked about drugs and how they talked about, like, they were very what's the word? They were decisive with the words and language that they used and the portrayal that they had of even law enforcement. They were very direct and didn't spare, any experience or any words. They weren't trying to make anyone feel good. They were just trying to be honest about their experiences.
They don't have time for that. It's the 70s. Stuff is moving. So she burned up the poppy field, which belonged to a bad guy named Mommy.
Yes, that was the weird part.
Yeah, that was very weird. She was played by Shelley Winters, which is a big deal. She's known for the Diary of Anne Frank movie, A Place in the Sun. Let me see, Lolita, Alfie, all like classic movies from the like 60s and whatever. And okay, so let's talk about Mama for a bit.
You mean
Mommy, yeah. Okay, where do you begin? One, yeah, it's cool to see a female in charge. She runs a gang that's full of dudes.
Yeah.
And she calls them her sons, and she has daughters too, but they're not related to her at all, right?
I would hope not. I would really hope that they're not related because it's legal.
Yeah, tell them what happened. Okay.
So it's just like, I didn't realize this until I read the Wikipedia, because I thought it was really subtle. But she, I guess mommy is a lesbian, and she is like a stereotype of lesbians that I guess was really pervasive in the 70s. In the movie, she just makes, not sexually explicit, but she says things that would be considered perhaps harassing if that was your employer. Like,
Oh yeah, she definitely been like Me Too'd.
100%. Like, you can't pinch someone's butt, or like, you're a good girl for mommy, or like, she did things like that. And so I guess that was one of the things, one of the drawbacks of the criticisms rather of the film, was how they portrayed her as a lesbian, and how it wasn't, I don't think it was just that she was the bad guy. I think it was just the sexual aggressiveness
That was weird
in the movie. It was a little bit weird, and I guess on the other hand, I mean, in movies like that, gang members are not often depicted as being respectful towards women. So it fits in line with that, but it seems like in the larger context, it had other repercussions.
Yeah. So she's pissed. She's like knocking these guys around, punching them, saying like, "How did you let this happen?" And by the way, before we go further, she's kind of a hefty woman, which is fine. But there's this one insult that Cleo says, calls her like, she's like, "Shut up, you fat ass," something like that towards
I think
that.
Fatso.
Oh yeah, that's what it was, Fatso.
Wait a minute. Cleo, no wisecracks, no jokes, no begging, no pleading.
No way, Fatso.
All right, get her out of here.
Like, oh, okay. That's fine. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
And okay, so here's what she does. She calls in a favor for a local police. What city was she in?
Oh, I don't remember. I think it was Chicago. But let me look.
Yeah. Well, okay. So she sends cops into Chicago to break up Cleopatra's like house. Like, she has a house that has kids on it who are trying to get over addiction, runaways. It's all like this really positive stuff. So anyway, they come, they kick in the door, and they arrest her, right? No, they arrest the boyfriend, or what happened?
Okay, so it was LA. It was LA. So that actually makes a lot of sense. So I guess you would have been working with the LAPD, which sets the stage for other things. What happens in that initial raid is that, I mean, basically, it's what we call it swatting today. Like, somebody called and said that there was something going on at this house where people were trying to, get better and recover from drug addiction. And so the cops go in to break it up, but they needed to get a search warrant, and it seems like they got a search warrant from an undisclosed source. Like, it's unclear to me if they were trying to get like a secret warrant or what exactly they did. 100%, they weren't supposed to be doing this, and it was not above board, and what they did was highly illegal, which is why the police chief was so upset. But they break into this house, and I thought it was really interesting that they put that like really like in the first few minutes, because they broke in the house like they did. Like, there was nothing spared about that, because they used the thing. They just broke in the door, didn't try to knock and announce, because they were like, "Oh, you might try to throw the drugs away," and broke in, and we're gonna like start shooting, which is never a good idea.
Yeah.
They recover drugs during their time in the house from someone who is alleging that they had been clean for a period of time.
Yeah.
We are doing better. It also was interesting to me because he straight up said the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he really did, with his whole chest.
Yeah. You know what? For a movie like this, the N-word and racism wasn't like that big of a deal. Like, they didn't overuse it,
No. I thought they did a good job, because it's just, I thought what the point of it was kind of to show, unfortunately, how members of the LAPD treated members of the public during the crack epidemic, and how they treated them when it came to drugs. And I think that there was a really specific reason why they had him say the N-word with the hard R so early on in the film.
Yeah.
because the first scene you see is Cleopatra Jones blowing up a poppy field. So clearly, something she's affiliated with is not going to be, a haven for drug abuse and crime. So it kind of just showed the differences, how he considered the people who lived in that house.
Yeah, in this movie, there are only two like racist people, or that said racist stuff, which is this cop and mommy, which is fine. Okay, so they busted the house. They arrest the kid. I forgot his name. And then Cleo gets mad, and she comes and she goes directly from the airport to there. Oh, hold on. Let's talk about the airport scene.
Oh, yeah. I didn't understand at first. I had to rewatch it because I wasn't paying full attention the initial time. That was an interesting scene because it's like, so essentially she comes back from Turkey and they know she's coming back, and mommy's mad that she, basically blew up millions of dollars worth of, drugs.
Yeah.
And so they send someone to attack her, and she evades them and embarrasses them.
Yeah, with the slowest kick ever. Like, it's extremely slow. Also, she kills, like, two guys in the middle of the airport.
She does kill people.
And then cops run up. She's like, hey, it's okay. I have a badge.
And I'm like, that's not okay.
Yeah. Were you able to take guns on a plane in the 70s?
I mean, probably.
No, right?
I think you might have been. There were probably no restrictions. Especially, I mean, if she had law enforcement. But
that's very true.
I don't know that those other people were on the plane. I think they probably snuck up on her once she landed. And you could have definitely gone anywhere you wanted to back in the 70s.
Yeah. Okay, and then after that, I think she goes to see the chief, right?
Yes. Well, no. Doesn't she go to the house first, or does she go to see the chief first? Like, I thought she went to see her boyfriend first.
Yeah, I think, what was the boyfriend's name? Yeah.
His name?
So she goes to see the boyfriend, and the boyfriend, I'm blanking on this. There's a large chunk of the movie that
Ruben
didn't really need. So the movie only has like 3 scenes, really, 3 like storylines, and the rest are her trying to find answers or something. It didn't really make that much sense.
I think that it was good. Like, no, I because the thing is, I actually really liked it a lot.
I did too, but I don't remember the middle chunk of the movie.
I think it's just because it was a lot of chases.
Yeah. Oh, the car chase was awesome. Like, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there's like I guess a mobster is what you call him, and he works for mommy.
It seems like he has his own setup, but he was like contracting for mommy almost.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too. I actually really like the actors that were doing. I liked all the actors, but those particular actors that were like working with him, they were really good.
They're really good.
Kenyatta, I think that's his name.
Yeah. So his name is so freaking weird. I don't know why you would name a character this. It's Doodlebug.
Doodlebug. Yeah, the ones who were working with Doodlebug. I like them a lot.
Yeah, and there's I think she comes to sees him. There's like some weird racial stuff with that too, about him becoming like this big mobster and being like a racist white guy. Right? Did you feel that way, or do you think I'm like tripping?
Who was being racist?
Well, no, I thought like the movie itself was talking about how Doodlebug, when he got money, he turned into like this really bad racist white person, I guess.
I think what it was is like basically he kind of got too big for his britches. He was doing stuff he knew better than doing, and I feel like because like another thing. When you're talking about gangs in particular, some of the gangs, I mean, obviously there are a lot of different factors that go into this. But I mean, to some extent, some of them were, I think, assisting members of the community in positive ways. Obviously, they were doing a lot of damaging things.
Yeah.
At the same time, it wasn't necessarily just evil in their heart. Like, they definitely cared about people. And And it seems like when he got money, like when Doodlebug started making the money he did, he kind of stopped caring about people, and he really didn't care who got in his way, which is why I think people were becoming afraid of him, because there was nothing that was like too far for him to cross. So I think that's kind of where they were coming from, because it's just like, I think sometimes when people, especially like even now, like forget if like it's a like gang activity, like when people, especially I think within certain communities, like when people get money, it puts you in a different, setting than I think people who don't have money, and that's just classism. And so I think sometimes, even though we're all affected by the same thing, sometimes people kind of are more able to ignore the negative discrimination and the discrimination that they do face, and it hurts a little bit more, because it's like, well, we were together and you saw the things that were happening, and now you feel like you're too good to associate with me, when those people who you're friends with now wouldn't have associated with you before if you didn't
100%.
have money.
Yeah, I almost forgot.
Yeah.
He had a butler.
Yeah, that was that was very interesting.
Yeah, that was really weird. Like, he had a white butler that he kind of treated. Would you say he treated him bad, or just okay?
He treated him like he had new money. Like, that's how I think about it. Like, he was just like, I just got a mill, and I got a white butler, and I'm gonna act a fool. Because, like, all he would do was just tell him to do stuff that he didn't need half the stuff he would tell that man to do.
No.
He was just bothering him just to bother him. The man just had a job that he was trying to do, and Doodlebug was like, go get us some ice. And you're like, oh.
Mattingly. You rang, Squire? Ain't he bad? Thank you, sir. I need a drink, Mattingly. The usual. Certainly, sir. Now, I shan't be a jiffy. I'm just going to fetch some ice cubes.
Some ice
It was so, like, okay, then his henchmen were, like, making fun of him.
Yes.
Like, saying slang and stuff. And I felt so bad for this dude, because he didn't know what was going on. He was like
British?
I don't know. Yeah, he was British, and he was, like, driving around. I was like, oh, I didn't know you had guns. I don't like that.
Oh, you're out of sight, Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles, you are out of sight, Mr. Pickles.
I think you two gentlemen are having me on.
Calm yourself, Mattingly.
Mr. Simpkins, the agency didn't tell me this sort of thing would be happening. It's getting the best of my nerves. I mean, guns and things, it really is a bit much. I mean, it's worse than the RAF.
And they all die.
Yeah, that sucked. I didn't think about it, but that sucked for the butler, man. Like, they didn't even try to spare that man.
Yeah, and he seemed to be, like, new. Like, I don't think he's been working that long.
It seemed like it was his first week, because honestly, he didn't know anything, and he was so confused and frazzled.
Yeah.
So, but it was I just liked that was, like, a major part of Doodlebug for no reason. He's like, yeah, I got a white butler, and you're like, okay, man, like, calm down. Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. I have my favorite part of the entire movie is when she goes into some, like, hood-ass trap place.
Yeah.
And she goes to question this guy.
Yes.
Which I don't know why she questioned him, honestly.
She did it to clear the guy. So essentially, in the beginning of the movie, when they broke into the house, they planted drugs, like the cops did, because they were working for Mommy. And so the drugs that they had, the drugs they recovered were from this guy, Harris, who was, like, promising that he didn't have drugs.
Yeah.
And she was trying to clear his name.
Oh, so he was a drug dealer.
He was the drug dealer, and so she was basically saying, like, did you sell drugs to this guy? And he was like, no. And that right there was enough for her to know that there's a dirty cop involved.
Yeah, first he was like, he didn't say anything. Well, he's like, I don't sell drugs.
That was the funniest thing in my life.
Yeah, by the way, the height difference is very plain to see.
And it's so funny because, like, so when she goes to the door, he tries to stab her, and he's like, bro, if you had nothing to do with it, why are you trying to stab this woman?
Yeah, no, I think someone paid him, like, to get rid of her or whatever.
Why would you hire him? He cannot do it.
Yeah. And for a drug dealer, that is not a good looking place.
No.
Like, to live. I mean, I guess he wasn't top. Oh, yeah. By the way, I don't know if it's just me, but she seemed a little crazy at that moment.
No, I think what it was is like her just being authoritative because he was lying. He was lying to her face, and then he was trying to act like he didn't know nothing. And he's like, "What is that? I don't know what this." And like, first of all, the thing about it, she did not have him pinned up against that wall, but you would not be able to tell. She was clear across the room, and this man was so scared that he pinned himself up against the wall.
Well, she had a knife out, which is
his knife.
Yeah, you don't really see like a hero with a knife threatening someone.
But the thing is, it was the knife that he tried to stab her with. She just got it from him.
See, that's why. Yeah. That's. Oh, and then like she scares him. By the way, he did a great job acting, that dude.
It was hilarious. That was the funniest thing, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love that part.
What you coming down on me for? Look, I'm just trying to protect my own. What you doing sneaking around my door?
I want to ask you about your business, pusher man.
My favorite part of that part is when he was like, "What is that? I don't know anything about that. That's Shinola."
Oh, and she took the knife, was like ripping his clothes.
She was doing a lot, but she knew what she was doing because he was going to tell the truth.
Oh no, baby, that's my silk shirt, man. What are you? Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute now. Don't rip up my double knits. Hey, no. Well, I'm cut him up. Just look at him, stupid. Don't rip up my fine. Oh, shit. Hey, look, you gonna piss me off now. Hey, no. Not my high heels. Not my high heels. Look. Ain't nothing. Why don't you just look at him?
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, and then the movie ends in this weird showdown at the landfill.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? The car depot? Because it's all cars. What do they call that? The junkyard, I guess.
I guess a junkyard. By the way, Mommy is killing a lot of her dudes. Like, whenever she gets pissed, she, like, just, shoots someone or has them go in a car and drops it on the ground and they die. I don't really get the purpose of that, but yeah, it was a weird place to have, like, a final battle.
The thing about that, though, is, like, she had no discretion about who she killed. Like, she had killed people who worked with her for 10 years.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, whatever, drop them in the compactor.
Yeah.
First of all, though, if you worked for her for that long, why would you get in the car? Why would you be dumb enough to do that? Like, you're going to have to shoot me. I'm not going to get my own coffee.
Well, yeah, I don't...
Like,
I'm trying to think of, like... By the way, did he do anything wrong? I don't remember. Did he just not catch her, right? That was pretty much it?
I think he just didn't catch her one time in that car chase. And it's like, why would you send the, like, 7th member of the Beatles to catch Patrick Jones?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that and expect it to work? So obviously he didn't, and he was all upset, and he was British and mad. And I don't know why, but it felt like him being British had something to do with it. I don't know if she, like, had contempt.
I have no clue. That's
it just
weird.
Felt like it had something to do with it.
That's the second British person in the movie to die. Yeah, I didn't put that together.
Because the first one was she slapped him in the beginning, and it was, I think it was because he was British.
Yeah, I would have handed my pink slip right there. I'd be like, hey, that's not cool, man. Oh, we didn't even talk about. Okay, so for some reason she has a gun. Mommy has a gun. And then she goes, like, to Cleopatra, like, hey, come with me. And she just goes with her, like, very, cooperative. Everything was set. Yeah. But she has 2 friends who I don't really know who they are. They're the whatever brothers.
They're the sons of the owner of the restaurant, who was played by Florida Evans.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
I love Florida Evans. I know that's not her name. That's how I identify her. I just think it's funny because, like, did you watch Good Times?
Yeah.
So, in Good Times, Florida Evans only cusses one time.
Yeah.
It's the D word, and she says it 3 times.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was hilarious how, in this movie, she did it again, but it was only that word, and I'm like, is that the one word that she allows?
Okay, so
Esther Roll.
yeah, that's it. So she was a villain, right? Or she was like a drug dealer selling stuff in the back or doing some illegal stuff in the back, right?
She was like, I was confused on that, and I should have looked it up. But essentially, it seems like they were playing. It was like illegal gambling. I don't think she wasn't running it, but I think she just kind of let them play their game in the back, and it's technically illegal. But it wasn't drugs. It wasn't like anything morally repugnant. It was just like gambling.
Was it like running numbers, which I don't know what it is?
It was something like that, but I could have been, because the other thing I was thinking, and I don't know how these games are played, but like, dice, like that's one of the games. It seemed like it was something like that. And her sons were the people who were helping Cleopatra Jones. They were cool. I like them.
Yeah, they knew karate.
They did, but like, I didn't understand how this plan in the end came together because no one talked.
No.
There was no conversation. They were just like, I'm going to go to this house. And then they were like, I don't like that. And then a plan.
They were funny too. One dude sounded like Tracy Morgan a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. So they go and they save Cleopatra from being, what is she going to be, dropped or crushed? No, she's going to be dropped, right?
She's going to be both because, like, I think they were going to put her in the car and then drop her on the, like, conveyor belt and crush her. Which, like, not an efficient way to kill somebody.
No, and I don't know why you would. You had guns, you had anything. You could just, like, even just put her in that thing. You don't have to put her in a car and do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the two friends, what are they called? The brothers we were talking about. They come in, they save the day. And the end, right?
Essentially, because, like, they come in. Oh, because the other thing is, what's his name's girlfriend? Doodlebug's girlfriend was named Tiffanys, and she was a singer. And the one thing that was really interesting to me is that she was a singer in a nightclub, but they were singing gospel music. And I thought that was, like, really interesting. I was like, is that something that they were doing in the 70s in the nightclubs? So why are people so against nightclubs?
By the way, I don't think she's a good singer, right? That's...
She had the 70s sound. Let's go with that.
Okay, I don't...
She sounded of her time.
That's not true, because Diana Ross was a killer.
Let's just say that.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to think, who's somebody today? Like, it's kind of like how I feel about, like, a lot of pop music, where it's like, it works for the time frame that it's in, but you're not really that. I would not let you just serenade me.
I don't think she's a good singer. I think she's awful.
I did not. I like the song, and the backup singers are really good.
Do you have any favorite lines from the movie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go. I got some.
My favorite one is when they're in the car, and he's asking him for money, but he doesn't know how to say it, so he's like, I'm financially embarrassed right now. I love that. I want that on a shirt.
And my favorite line is, I thought it was cool, like, put that away before I make you eat it. That was cool. I forgot who she said that to. I think it was like, what was it? Was it, I can't remember.
I feel like it was the British guy.
Yeah, this is very anti-British. Very
anti-British movie. I know that's not the takeaway, but they had something going with the British, and it wasn't black people being mean to the British. It was mommy, and like I think the cops are kind of mean to the British.
Yeah, they were. There's a lot of slight sexual harassment. I think there's one scene where the chief asked, like, Cleopatra was like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "My body's fine." And he was like, "It sure is."
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of cute. It's whatever.
It sure is. He really said that for no reason.
Yeah. He was a good dude. I liked him in the movie. There's no bad acting. I think overall it's a decent movie. Even the soundtrack was okay. There's no like bangers. Yeah, I think the guy just had that one hit from the movie. Yeah, I think this movie did really well. They made a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, like when this genre of movies went away, the actress kind of stopped acting. I mean, yeah, she was a 6'2" model, and I think that was it. I think she did some tiny roles, but after that, it was gone for her career.
I thought what what was interesting too in the movie is that she was a model and a federal agent at the same time, but like modeling was like her like job for the public.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I think there's a scene where she rides a motorcycle.
Yes, that's a great scene.
And I think she really was on it. I saw an interview Pam Grier, who is, I think she's Foxy Brown.
Yeah.
She was like, Pam Grier taught her how to like shoot a gun and ride horses and a motorcycle, which is pretty cool.
Really cool,
Yeah, so I think, she was legit, man.
Sure. That scene was also interesting. Like when she made it to the top of the hill to meet the guy who was brothers with, who was Tiffany's brother.
So the movie came out in 1973, and the sequel was Cleopatra Jones and the Casino of Gold, which sounds like a knockoff James Bond movie, but that sounds really awesome. Yeah, man, I think overall, it made a ton of money.
It was a good movie, and it had very established actors in it. Like Esther Roll, she was very established, and Shelley compares to.
Here's an uncomfortable thing about Florida Evans. Was she younger in this, or was she older in Good Times?
See, okay, the thing about that is I'm pretty sure she was like considerably older than James in Good Times.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It was really odd because I've only seen her as either Raisin in the Sun or the mom from Good Times. It's just weird to see her be a different person who's using slang and is kind of on the wrong side of the law.
I've only seen her in Mother, like roles like when she was on Good Times.
Okay, what would you rate this movie?
I would honestly give it like a 10. I thought it was really good.
No, I think I would. I would give it 10. No, I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I was gonna say like 8. Do you remember Just For Me? 8 Just For Me bottles?
Sorry, I was trying to look it up. The Just For Me?
Yeah.
Like the Just For... Wait, what?
Yeah, you don't remember that? It was like a hair product for black girls. It's called Just For Me.
Oh, like the perm?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Is that still around?
Yeah, it's still around. It's what's interesting, it's like a children's perm. Like it's targeted for kids, but like that's like pretty much the only one I used for a while because like my hair was real fragile, like real tender.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good product, especially for a home perm. I think a lot of people are starting to move away from perms just because they're so damaging chemically. Like even myself, I lost a ton of hair. Last year I got my hair chemically straightened, so I'm just kind of doing it natural now.
Yeah, I didn't even think. I knew it was for girls, but I didn't put together how bad perming is. Right, it burns.
Like
right?
It burns, and it's like there are definitely ways that it can be done, and your hair be healthy and well maintained. At the same time, I think overprocessing is something that a lot of Black women struggle with because in order to have the same like look, the achieved look, you have to get it done pretty frequently. And that's a lot of chemical processing for your hair, especially if you want it colored or anything. And then, I mean, you're talking about putting heat on it. So I think that's another reason why so many Black women are kind of moving away from perms, just because people are learning different ways of caring for our hair. And I think that was something I liked in the movie, too. Like, I loved Cleopatra Jones's hair. She looked gorgeous all the time. And the makeup was interesting, too, because it seems like it was very minimal and like highlighted just how gorgeous she was. It really just complimented her. Same for Tiffany. Same for pretty much everyone in the film, because like I liked how Tiffany was dressed, and I liked how they wardrobed her.
Right.
Especially with the like peach and the blush colors. Cleopatra Jones with the very exciting and bright colors and very eclectic and different choices in fashion. Because like at some point she has like this pointy hat, which like I would look like an idiot if I had that pointy hat. But she looked amazing and just effortless and like very regal.
Yeah, and the clothes weren't like revealing, so which is rare for like a female hero. Yeah, it's really awesome.
It was. I think it was a good representation. I think the other thing that we didn't highlight on is just the relationship between Cleopatra Jones and her boyfriend was amazing.
Yeah.
He had a very nurturing role at the house that he was running to make sure that people, were able to recover and, safely from withdrawals from drugs, and help people kind of get on their feet. And I think that's like typically something that's looked at as something more feminine. Women are more likely to be nurturing. That's essentially like the societal perspective, especially in the 70s. But he was like at home, basically taking care of their community, and she like going and doing all like the kicking and shooting and like catching bad guys.
Yeah, and they were equal, which was awesome.
I love that because he never once seems like he was emasculated by that or seemed he was jealous or had anything against her. And I think that's something that's not necessarily in a lot of media portraying Black love on screen. Only time I've seen it positively is like that is in Black Panther. That's one reason I like that movie so much, because like they were both equal, they were both very good at their jobs, and he did not mind that she had to be gone so often, and he made it clear like he would be home waiting for her, and he respected her and thought she was gorgeous. Like he was able to embrace her femininity as well as just the fact that she was an exceptional person.
You know what I miss? They don't do this anymore in movies. Like when like an action movie takes place and it's over, they show like everyone back at the house, everyone's chilling and drinking beer, and you know, it's just like a good time. I haven't seen that in a long time. I know Star Wars does it, but I haven't seen like the resolution of people being like, see, everyone's fine, everyone's having a good time. I like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. So that's, well, I was gonna say it was 8 bottles of Just For Me perm, but now it's kind of a lost thing. But yeah, that's it. You guys should definitely see the movie. I think next week we're gonna do no relation, Black Belt Jones, which is like this karate movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, for Lights, Camera, Blaction, my name is Deric.